Hey Faith Family, welcome to the Beyond Sunday podcast at Calvary Bible, where we go beyond the Sunday sermon to explore some rabbit holes and to bring some biblical truths to the surface. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Calvary Bible Church, welcome back to another episode here on a hot Tuesday with Pastor Randall.
It's supposed to be.
How was your Memorial Day weekend?
It was good. Calm. Basically uneventful.
That's good.
Yeah.
Did you get to see the kids at all?
I did not.
No,
Michelle did.
Did she?
Yeah. She had an opportunity to go with one set of families. And so I had a wonderful few hours of grading papers and a little bit of yard work. And then I was able to barbecue for me and Michelle. So it was, for us, it was pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And it was important after the last week or so was super hectic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And some of the family were away. The Buckwalters, for instance, were up at the cabin. They were all together.
Okay.
So they didn't get home until Sunday night, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah. How about you? Calm?
So I did some stump removal. Not trees, but like burning bushes.
Yeah.
The non-talking kind.
Yeah.
And
you use a tractor to?
No, I was able to get it. There was like 6 of them all bunched together, and some were rotted out because they were that old, and some I could just get at with a shovel and loppers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
So didn't have to get the tractor out.
Good.
And I also barbecued last night.
Oh, good.
Had my parents over, and
good.
It was a nice calm day.
And your bees came Friday.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm a beekeeper. I'm a beekeeper now.
So good.
So Ray Newland and I have been, if you have not heard, we're keeping bees. I actually worked a bee line into my last sermon.
Good.
Because Ray's been bugging me to do that, and I found a way to finally do it.
Oh, that's great.
Speaking of which, the reason I did is because I read this verse, which I now have on a mug. Where the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. Matthew 24:28. You guys, are you all jealous of my mug?
I am.
Look at that thing.
Cool.
And on the other side, it's got a vulture with the verse reference.
That's so cool.
And he's like picking at, the ribs on, I'm going to say that's an elk carcass of some kind, or impala. Maybe it's an impala. I don't know where she got that image. But Erica Stauffer, I mentioned that verse because I had to preach on it the week before, thanks to you.
Yeah.
That's great. And I said,
good.
That's not a verse you see on a mug. And she thought, well, I can make it on a mug. And she did. And that was very kind of her.
That is great.
But getting back to the bee story, where the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. I said, where the bees are, there you will find honey.
Yeah.
And that sounds much nicer, but Jesus didn't choose to do that. He chose to do the vultures and the corpse because it's, there's judgment coming with his return.
Yeah.
That's an aspect of it. And now you just kind of continued on in that. So I have a couple questions for the podcast. Mm-hmm. So you ready to get in?
I am.
Into it?
I am.
Matthew 24, the end of the chapters is the third sermon out of chapter 24, all again in the Olivet Discourse, Jesus teaching from the Mount of Olives. And a lot of end times kind of stuff, final judgment, that kind of a conversation or teaching anyway from Jesus to his disciples, because they asked the 2 questions, right?
Yep.
I'll read them for us again in verse 3. Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming?
Time and signs. Yep.
Yep. Time and signs. So question came in. Thank you for sending your questions in. It was an interesting thought experiment. We don't know, and you mentioned that on Sunday. Not even the sun knows, so we got to be ready, stay awake. Can you imagine what the human heart would do if God told us when he would return? I would like to think in some ways there would be a sense of urgency when it was getting close, but probably on the other side, a lot of complacency. If we knew it was not going to happen for another 1,000 years, we'd be like, well, we'll let the church in 1,000 years worry about that and go about our business.
Yeah.
Probably knowing the human heart as it is, there would be a lot of negative things that came out of knowing it.
Mm.
I'm not sure how positive it would be.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, have you ever thought about it?
I have. Mm-hmm. So it seems like...
Why doesn't Jesus tell us?
My first answer to this has always been, and it continues to be, it really hasn't changed through the years. I think you often just want to ask the question, what would happen to faith if he told us? Like, now what happens to faith? What does knowing the arrival day and time, the arrival time, what does knowing do to faith? And I think that's sort of a foundational issue with why he doesn't tell us. Mm-hmm. Since everything about the Christian life, start to finish and everything in between, is faith driven. So that's where I usually would start. I like the thought.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good and that's helpful, because I think a natural question is, well, why doesn't God tell us? Why didn't he tell his disciples?
I know.
Doesn't he know, or didn't he know that if it was going to take 2,000 years, people would start to doubt him, at some point, which goes again to that faith point.
And so, Peter writes about that very thing and says, things have stayed the same for all these years. So where is it? Where is the coming?
Right. Yeah. And he's just decades out,
Yeah.
And so people decades out are wondering, here we are centuries out.
Yeah.
Millennium out now, not having it happened yet. And yet we're still waiting, and charged to stay alert.
Yeah.
Be ready, stay awake. What are the ways that we stay ready? To keep us from becoming complacent, to keep us from drifting, to use the word you did on Sunday. I don't know. How do we say, how do we put into practice the faithful and wise?
Yeah. It was interesting on Sunday right after church. Make sure I get her last. I always want to call her Rachel Keeley, right?
You got it.
Rachel, she said
newly
to me,
married.
Yeah, she said to me, well, that's not a good verse to recite to yourself right before bedtime. Stay awake, and here you are getting ready to go to sleep, which was a great, and I wanted to get, so I said to her, I said, that is a great thought, because, so what I want to do to answer that is to say, I want to say to you, the rhythms. I think a lot about rhythms of a day, rhythms of a week. And so just think about the rhythms of a day. And so let me start with in the morning, and then I'll get to Rachel's comment about nighttime. But when I wake up in the morning, I'm awake. Okay. But the question, of course, from this text, as I tried to point out, we're talking about being spiritually awake, doing some spiritual house cleaning to stay ready, that type of stuff. So in a sense, what we're thinking about is I wake up in the morning, I'm physically awake. That's the first moment for me to be spiritually awake, and that is a time to address God. For me, I find it best to recite the Lord's Prayer so that I can address him and his kingdom coming. And so notice that in saying that prayer, I am inviting his kingdom to come. So that is about as much readiness as I can muster in the opening minutes of consciousness in a day. So take that morning time every single morning. You become awake, get awake, and now it's immediately time to awake spiritually, to make sure you're alert spiritually. Now go to the end of the day. This one was fun because I appreciated Rachel thinking this through like this. Here you are telling the Lord, I want to stay awake, but I'm about to go to sleep. And I said to her, that's why it's important for me in those times when I am going to bed and I'm about to go to sleep and I know my heart is not right. I'm agitated for some reason, that's the moment to be talking to God while I'm headed off to sleep. I'm trying desperately to go to sleep. You may have experienced this before where you're in turmoil in your mind and heart, but you're trying to get to sleep. And so staying awake spiritually while preparing to go to sleep physically is a time for me to be talking to God as I drift off, is kind of the best I could say it to her. So I do want, with those two big times in a day, morning, right when I wake up, nighttime, right as I leave awakeness and head into sleepy land, I want to make sure that I am on good terms with God and others. And if I'm not, I need to be talking to God about it as I'm drifting off, is the way I put it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's one
and
thing.
Both of those are just talking to God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the most attractive thing or exciting thing in the world, but that's a solid, just staple, time in the Word. I'm probably a little less rhythmic and routinish as you are. So I would like to bring some variety into my just spiritual alertness. More recently, it's been like I would find myself waking up and I want to get into the Word usually pretty quickly, but then I find myself like physically drifting off and not really being alert. Yeah. So even just recently for me, it was a change of, let me get some food in my stomach and take some time to actually wake up
physically.
So then I can go to prayer and not drift off, go to the Word and not lose my place.
That's good.
But I'm also thinking about like the things that keep us from being alert, the things that distract us. And the times where I find myself distracted is when I don't have enough margin in my life. And I've got a lot to get done. And so I wake up and I don't have time. And so I put those things aside and I can get right into work or a meeting or something. And I don't have that time to really just sit in the presence of God and bask in that for a little bit. So busyness. And then the other thing too, I've done pretty well at this. I could always slip back into it, but at times I'd found myself immediately waking up and thinking about a worldly thing. Like what happened in the news, what happened with the Phillies last night. I always bring the Phillies up, what was the score, and wanting to check that thing. I know some people, it's like social media, like, whether it's Instagram or X or Facebook, like that's the first thing, they're engaged on their phone before they're engaged, spiritually, let's say. And so I think even something, it may not be a routine, but maybe more of a rule to have in your life where you say, before I know what's happening in the world, I want to know what's happening in the Word and get myself centered and grounded in those things before I consume something else that's, coming at me that's, normal daily life kind of stuff. So
that's a great point.
Because we can get distracted, as much as we can be awake, you're going to read the parable of the 10 virgins, these, 5 that stay awake and the 5 that don't here next week. Like, even when we're physically awake, or spiritually awake, we can be distracted and drift into, I don't know, like a mindlessness, if that makes sense. Like, we're not spiritually awake because we're being distracted by something else in life, and we lose our focus. I don't know. Yeah,
and you can be on autopilot. You can just sort of be on like drift. I'm going into my day. I'm just thinking about
cruise control.
The folks that we have the privilege of being with all the time here in the faith family, and I just think about their day, and I think a lot of it is they're going about their day. Their day is a normal routine, and they can be on autopilot and get it done. I think staying awake and being prepared is this constant reminder that Jesus is coming back. I have to be a wise and faithful servant. And this coming Sunday and the Sunday after that, this will be fleshed out more along the lines of what we're supposed to be doing. In our text, this text that we had, there was no specifics, as is so often the case. There's just not specifics in this text.
Like no, go and do this.
Just the 42, stay awake, therefore stay awake. Verse 44, therefore you must also be ready. But then we sort of got into who then is the faithful and wise servant. And you use helped us focus ahead a little bit, where this teaching that's coming is a parable where there's 10 ladies, 10 virgins, five are wise, 5 are foolish. So again, picking up on verse 45, who then is the faithful and wise servant? It's the one who is staying awake and staying prepared, because we don't know when. And this was the part that's, I think, still, intrigues me the most, this aspect of he's coming at an hour you do not expect. And that, again, I was trying to flesh that out with us on Sunday. Just think about this, that the routines of our world and our day are keeping us from, we don't expect that he's coming. Why? Because this is just a normal day. Something like that. I forget exactly how much I elaborated on that, but that to me was the part that's most frightening. We're not ready for this. We're not expecting him to come. And if you go back to that, Jesus compares the time of his coming is going to be like the days of Noah. Well, in what way? The population just is not ready for, I think the word was unaware. Verse 39, yes, and they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. And so it's that temptation of drifting toward unaware. Delay, I think I put it, delay equals drift or something like that. And so just being caught unaware, well, because there was nothing about the day that seems like he's coming back.
Yeah.
So,
quick theology question for you. It popped into my mind. I don't know if you have an opinion or a position, but if God is one in Trinity, 3 in 1, how can the Father know but the Son not know?
I know.
Is that like one of those, Scripture doesn't quite flesh it out? You can conjecture a little bit or see a small example in other places of Scripture where the Father, has authority over the Son, yada, yada, or just nod your head and smile and wave.
I'm smiling and waving because I had 3 or 4 lines in my notes from the week before, and I thought, listen, this poses a tremendous problem, for we know that there is omniscience.
Yeah.
But the closest I think I could come is, and actually I like the way you just put it, you get these little glimpses of this somewhere else. I forget exactly the word you use, but there are places in Scripture, and there is a major theological, doctrine that talks about Jesus voluntarily laying aside all of his abilities. So if all I can say with my limited understanding is that this is an example of the effects or results of the incarnation of Christ. Here's Christ, fully God, now becoming fully man. And I don't know how the two of those merge. I never will. But I think that what we're seeing here is one of those, you're looking at his humanity highlighted, but I wouldn't be able to do much more than that to serve any good.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a great issue though.
Well, let's close with this. I don't have a joke for you today.
Thank you.
I told you maybe I did, but
it's just not coming to you.
Well, no, I had 2, but I don't have my paper in front of me. But I told them both, and I know I told them both in the last couple of weeks.
Good.
So
that's good.
I don't have a joke for y'all, but you have a story for us. Can you tell us the story of your dad's shop being broken into?
Oh, my word. My mom listens to these. She listened to the sermon on Sunday afternoon, and she said, oh, my goodness, that was so scary. And it was, but when you're
Was your
young,
home near the shop at all?
right next door.
Okay,
out my bedroom window, for instance, it's a little rancher house, and I mean little. Out my bedroom window, so you're looking at, if you're looking at the house from the road, my bedroom's right over here.
On the right.
The shop was right there.
Okay.
And then my grandfather's shop was right there.
Yep.
So the house is very close to the shop. And the police called and said, "Hey, we've got a tip." And so, I didn't have time to do much of this, but the story itself, just a lot of it reflects, like, I would think rural Maine, but probably folks in PA can relate to this. Now, I'm a young boy that I never knew a time when I didn't have a gun.
Yeah.
So my mom said, "Well, you were so little." I said, "No, Mom, that was at least when I was in 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, or somewhere in there."
Okay.
So I was not really young, and I'd had a gun forever. Under my bed is where I kept my deer rifle.
Like a good maniac.
Like you do. But, it was so fascinating, just the preparedness. That's why the story is so great for this text, because as soon as we get that call, no one's going to sleep. There's no going to sleep.
No.
And everybody's on alert.
Yep.
We had a police dog, a German Shepherd, which was a retired police dog, which was one of the best pets we ever had. Just a beautiful dog. And that dog knew its job very, very well. He knew the difference between a friend coming in and a stranger, which was so weird.
Yeah.
They just knew.
Yep.
So the dog, police officers came and actually said, "Shut the alarm off." We had an alarm. Shut the alarm off. They took the dog and went into to one business. The other police officer went into the other business. And of course, we're at home just wondering what's going to happen.
Right.
But I can tell you, we didn't go to sleep, and we were extremely alert. And I don't know what would have happened if,
So nothing happened?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. But as far as preparedness.
Yeah.
And, all kinds of bad things could have happened for the thief.
Yeah.
Because we had guns ready. It was typical Maine woods, rural Maine, man. We were ready. It's okay.
Take law into your own hands.
But the police were there.
Yeah.
They were ready. And they knew how we were prepared. They came into the house.
Yep.
They said, "Are you all right?" And we said, "Yeah, we're ready. Yeah, whatever you want us to do."
You didn't need to do a citizen's arrest.
No.
No,
probably wouldn't have been an arrest.
Great. But
it is a great story.
Yeah, well, it is. And like practically speaking, if you want to translate that into the spiritual world, when you know that, there's a tip, he's coming back.
Yeah.
Your urgency, ramps up.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to spiritually redline at that level of urgency all the time. You know what I mean?
It's a great point.
But there does need to be some sense of urgency. So I don't know if you're wrong to not be redlining and living every day as if today's the last day. I mean, some practical things you wouldn't do, from a financial perspective or whatever. But there needs to be some sense of urgency, I think, in the Christian life that he could come back.
Yes.
Today, tomorrow.
Yes. And so to think about that level of vigilance, it's like, okay. But what was interesting years ago, you remember Jeff Lane, dear brother that passed away not that long ago. He's in our church for quite some time, and he did 2 tours in Iraq. And I remember Jeff telling me, how difficult it was being a soldier, especially the second tour. There was more of a sense of we don't know who the enemy is, and we're always on alert. So I think the soldier mentality is kind of the mentality that I can relate to, even though I never served and wish I did. But I think that mentality of waking up every morning ready for battle is something that soldiers can attest to that. They can say, yeah, I understand that. And is that draining? Yes, it is. But the emotional requirement from Scripture is really, really strong and also physical. So let's just take trying to stay awake when you're really tired and you're in a comfortable position. Just think of that through for a minute. I'm warm, I'm fed, I'm comfortable, but I'm really tired and I'm fighting sleep. Staying awake is hard work. I think that's that red line-ish Kind of. That's kind of the way I could look at it and say, yeah, that's hard work. But I think that's what Scripture is calling us to in a number of places, not just this one.
Yeah. Well, and like for if they're redlining in a stress level for so long, like that's probably not healthy because you're going to burn out.
That's a great point.
But there's probably a level of redlining, like in just pushing yourself. If you think about to be like physically active and strong, you continue to be active and you keep working those. And the more you do, when you mentioned like a soldier training, like they're in the best physical shape of their life and mental acuity because they're on alert, and even though there's moments where like they have some reprieve, they wake up every day and they know they're not home, when they're on the battlefield. And so that kind of translates for us where this world's not our home. Let's not get too comfortable here. Stay alert, stay awake, be on mission.
And don't forget, this is never about us in the Christian life doing this on our own strength. So let's talk about, again, quickly, we are being asked to be alert, stay awake, be ready, be prepared for his arrival. That's why we go to God every day and say, God, would you please help us with endurance, help us with patience to wait, but also with faithfulness to serve while we wait, while the delay is happening. So this is, God sustains the soldier, let's say. You imagine how God sustains his Christian soldiers all over the world that are serving in military battle? God sustains those soldiers every single day for a fight. Yeah. I think that's what he does for all of us. So, yeah. Yeah.
Timely and important words to be reminded of. So, good. Anything else to add? Final last word?
This is it for you.
This will be my last podcast for a few months. Yeah,
probably the end of August, probably, or mid to late August.
Yeah.
Hope you have a great time.
Thank you.
I really do. Yeah. You'll be missed.
Yeah, I will miss everybody. But I am looking forward to it.
Yeah,
and
you are, for sure.
Also looking forward to coming back. It'll be like vacation. You're excited to go, but then you're excited to come back.
Yeah.
And so I trust that'll be the case.
So can I ask, who am I going to be with here? Who am I going to be, or who's stuck with me?
Yeah,
probably the way to put it is, who's stuck with me? Do you think Jordan?
I think Jordan's going to try and gut it out.
Can he do it?
He's competent, but does he have the chutzpah to, deal with you? He's probably
remains to be seen.
Probably not as funny as I am, but he's better dressed.
He's better dressed than anybody.
Looking, all of those things.
He's better. Yeah.
I think you'll be in good hands. He's pretty sound. He knows what he's doing. Yeah.
I hope you have a great time, Jonathan. I really do.
Thank you. I'm grateful to the church to, afford the opportunity. So
enjoy it.
Thank you. All right. Well, it's been real. It's been fun.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been real fun.
No, not without the joke.
All right. We love you guys. And Lord willing, we'll see you on Sunday. Thanks again for joining us on today's episode. And remember, our Sunday sermons are meant to lead us to a life of worship beyond Sunday.